Now, rescuers this morning working to save 270 pilot whales off the Tasmanian coast. The pod became stranded yesterday on a sandbar.
But despite best efforts, it is feared many of the whales won't survive. From above, the sheer scale of the stranding is clear.
It's pretty disturbing, isn't it? It's very sad.
Hundreds of pilot whales got stuck in shallow waters off the Tasmanian coast yesterday.
Whale strandings are not uncommon in Tasmania, and whale strandings of this scale are not uncommon either, but certainly we haven't had one for at least 10 years.
But helping them is no easy task. A pilot whale is roughly 5 metres long, weighing several tonnes, and that's not the only challenge.
The tide's very, very small in the harbour, barometric, like half a metre.
But authorities have hope. After a night of planning, it's all systems go this morning as rescue teams try to save the mammals.
We're going to refloat several animals and assess behaviour. So this entire operation, a lot of it depends on how these animals respond once they've got water underneath them.
It's extraordinary, isn't it? For more, whale expert Dr. Vanessa Pirotta joins us now. Doctor, welcome. How does something like this happen?
We don't know. Strandings are a complete mystery. So why these animals were in the area is a question. They're largely an offshore species, so they're known as pilot whales. They feed on squid and fish and offshore, and maybe they're just curious and came into an area too close and unfortunately too shallow.
Yes, and these pictures are awful to look at. I've had trouble watching it all morning, but how do you rescue? I mean, so many of them, 270 did we say, and how do you get them off this sandbar?
Well, that's the thing. There are so many and so little experts in the area. So what is really good is that experts in the area are currently on site to try their very best to make sure that the animals are assessed. So first of all, what they'll do is they'll go and see the animals that are looking relatively good. So those still in good condition, those breathing quite well, remembering that they're mammals like you and I, so they breathe air, so that's good. But as the sun rises, you have the risk of the sun drying out their skin. That's why we need to make sure there's water on them, not on their nose though, so they can still breathe. But also, this animal they're around 5 metres longer than your car, and they can weigh a couple of tonnes. So that whole weight, their body being on the sandbar, they've never felt the weight of their bodies before.
Wow.
So they could literally crush themselves or overheat because they're so good at warming their bodies.
So they're waiting for the tide to change and see if they can float them off.
Yes.
That's the best thing to do, is it?
It would help. So we need a high tide to hopefully elevate them a little bit more.
Right.
And as you can see, I don't know if the high tide will do so much for some individuals. It's just a dire situation.
Do they have a leader that they follow? Are they like sort of penguins or wildebeest that they go in a pack and sort of follow a leader?
Well, potentially, yes. And it may have been, in this case, because we don't know why they strand, they may have been following one individual that led them astray, unfortunately. And they may have, they use echolocation, so like biological sonar to see the world, and maybe they've navigated in the wrong place. It's just simply unlucky.
Because it does happen from time to time. I don't want to upset everyone at home, but some of them have died already. How long do people, the people down there trying to save them, have to get the ones that are still alive back in the water?
Yes, so that's a great question. They can go in this state for some might survive for a couple of days, some might be passing as we speak, but unfortunately if they do pass, we'll provide a lot of science knowledge, so a lot of contribution to data, looking at their stomach contents, and we'll learn a lot from it.
Okay. Well, hopefully the tide works.
Hopefully. Fingers crossed. Good luck to them.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Vanessa.
Thank you.